Okay, now downstairs with better light. That's not very flattering on my face. But what can you do? Oh, yay! Okay, sorry again, reading ahead, not on purpose. I wasn't even reading. I just happened to see on the page. Okay. Act 3, Scene 6. Campaign room. Scorpius is pinned to the table by a magnificent-looking Hermione. Her clothes faded, her eyes blazing. She is full warrior now, and it rather suits her. Hermione, you make one more move, and your brain will be a fog, and your arms will be rubber. Snape, he's safe. Oh, sorry. Snape, safe. He's safe. Beat, you know you never could listen. You are a terrible bore of a student, and you're a terrible bore of whatever you are. Hermione, I was an excellent student. Again, I love Snape never changes. I love him as much as I love the others. Snape, you are moderate to average. He's on our side. Scorpius, I am Hermione. Hermione looks at Scorpius, still very distrustful. Hermione, most people know me as Granger, and I don't believe a word you say, Malfoy. Scorpius, it's all my fault. My fault. And Albus's. Hermione, Albus? Albus Dumbledore? What's Albus Dumbledore got to do with this? Snape, he doesn't mean Dumbledore. You may need to come sit down. Ron runs in, his hair spiked, his clothes scruffy. He is slightly less good at the rebel look than Hermione is. Ron, Snape, a royal visit, and he sees Scorpius and is immediately alarmed. What's he doing here? He fumbles out his wand. I'm armed and entirely dangerous and seriously advise you. He realizes his wand is the wrong way around and turns it right. To be very careful. I love that. That's so funny. Oh, Ron. I can see that so clearly. Snape. Snape. He's safe, Ron. That jarred me. Snape calling him Ron instead of Weasley, that's new. Ron looks at Hermione, who nods. Ron, thank Dumbledore for that. Act 3, Scene 7, Campaign Room. Hermione is studying the time turner as Ron tries to digest it all. Ron, so you're telling me that the whole of history rests on Neville Longbottom? This is pretty wild. Hermione, it's true, Ron. Ron, right. And you're sure because... Hermione, what he knows about Snape, about all of us, there's no way he could... Ron, maybe he's a really good guesser? Scorpius, I'm not. Can you help? Ron, we're the only ones that can. Dumbledore's army has shrunk considerably since its peak. In fact, we're pretty much all that's left, but we've kept fighting on, hiding in plain sight, doing our best to tickle their nose hairs. Granger here is a wanted woman. I'm a wanted man. Snape, dryly, less wanted. It's weird that he calls her Granger, though. So, obviously they see a lot of each other because they're both working together, but did they not get together, or... I'm sure that the dynamic must be different, but... Hermione, to be clear, in this other world, before you meddled... Scorpius, Voldemort is dead, killed in the Battle of Hogwarts. Harry is head of magical law enforcement. You're Minister for Magic. Hermione stops, surprised by this. She looks up with a smile. Hermione, I'm Minister for Magic? Ron, wanting to join the fun. Brilliant! What do I do? Scorpius, you run Weasley's Wizard Wheezies. Ron, okay, so she's Minister for Magic and I run a joke shop? Scorpius looks at Ron's hurt face. Scorpius, you're mostly focused on bringing up your kids. Ron, great, I expect their mother's hot. Scorpius, blushing. Well, depends what you think of. The thing is, you two sort of have kids together. A daughter and a son. The two look up, astonished. Married, in love, everything. You were shocked the other time, too, when you were a defense against the dark arts teacher and Ron was married to Padma. You're constantly surprised by it. Hermione and Ron both look at each other and then look away, and then Ron looks back. Ron clears his throat repeatedly, with less conviction each time. Hermione, close your mouth when you're looking at me, Weasley. Ron does so, though he remains discombobulated. And Snape? What does Snape do in this other world? Snape, I'm dead, presumably. He looks at Scorpius, whose face drops. Snape smiles thinly. You were a little too surprised to see me. How? Scorpius. Bravely. Snape. Who? Scorpius. Voldemort. Snape. How very irritating. There's a silence as Snape digests. Still, there's glory in being taken down by the Dark Lord himself, I suppose. Hermione. I'm sorry, Severus. So how do they find out that he's good? Like, he's on first name terms with them. They're on last name terms with each other. So how, I mean, why do did they get to see his memories? Because, like, I mean, how else would they believe him even if he tried? What are... Okay, anyway. Hermione, I'm sorry, Severus. Snape looks at her and then swallows the pain. He indicates Ron with a flick of his head. Snape, well, at least I'm not married to him. Hermione, which spells did you use? Scorpius, Expelliarmus in the first task and Engorgio in the second. Ron, simple shield charms could set both of those right. Snape, and then you left? Scorpius, the time turner took us back, yes. That's the thing. This time turner, you only get 5 minutes in the past. Hermione, and can you still only move in time, not space? Scorpius, yes, it's, you travel back in the same spot you stand in. Hermione, interesting. Snape and Hermione both know what this means. Okay, because I don't. I have no idea what this means. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out. Snape, then it's just me and the boy. Hermione, no offense, Snape, but I'm not trusting this to anyone. It's too important. Snape, Hermione, you're the most wanted rebel in the wizarding world. Doing this will require you to go outside. When was the last time you were outside? Hermione, not for a long time, but... Snape, if you're found outside, the Dementors will kiss you. They'll suck out your soul. Hermione, Severus, I'm done with living off scraps, making failed attempts at coups. This is our chance to reset the world. She nods at Ron, who pulls down a map. The first task of the tournament took place at the edge of the Forbidden Forest. We turn time here, get to the tournament, block the spell, and then return safely. With precision, it can be done, and it won't require us to show our faces outside in our time at all. Then we'll turn time again, make our way to the lake, and reverse the second task. Snape, you're risking everything. Hermione, we get this right, Harry's alive, Voldemort's dead, and the Audrey is gone. For that no risk is too great, though I am sorry what it will cost you. Snape, sometimes costs are made to be borne. The two look at each other. Snape nods, Hermione nods back. Snape's face crumbles slightly. I didn't just quote Dumbledore, did I? Hermione, with a smile. No, I'm pretty sure that's pure Severus Snape. She turns to Scorpius. She indicates the time turner. Malfoy. Scorpius brings her the time turner. She smiles at it, excited to use a time turner again, excited to use it for this. Let's hope this works. She takes the time turner. It begins to vibrate and then explodes into a storm of movement. And there is a giant whoosh of light, a smash of noise. And time stops. And then it turns over, thinks a bit, and begins spooling backwards, slow at first. There is a bang and a flash, and our gang disappear.